President Trump's penchant for self-promotion is no secret. It's who he is, especially when it comes to slapping his name on everything. Trump gold cars, Trump accounts, Trump RX, putting his name on buildings across Washington, D.C., the Trump Institute of Peace, and the Kennedy Center. Although his name was removed from the Kennedy Center just last month under federal judge's order. Look at that, going away, that P. Meanwhile, earlier this month, the airport in West Palm Beach, Florida, was renamed after Trump on the same day. Bridgeton, Tennessee was also renamed in his honor. But it seems that just isn't enough for the man. The Trump administration is reportedly now looking to the president's former hometown. This week, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy urged lawmakers to direct Amtrak to rename New York City's Penn Station as part of an $8 billion redesign, but stopped short of directing exactly what it should be changed to. Kimberly Atkins Stohr and April Ryan, White House and Capitol Hill correspondent for the Contrarian on Substack, are both back with us. I want to play something because what I think is really interesting here is the ways in which Donald Trump has talked about New York for so long. So why would you want your name on it? Let's play you one, Kim.
You know what's going on in New York. Everyone's leaving. It's turned out to be a hellhole.
Look at what has happened to New York. The trains and subways are squalid and unsafe.
What the mayor doesn't say is that these buildings will soon turn into ghettos and slums and that everybody will continue leaving New York.
That is July 9, 2020, September 18, 2024, and June 26th of this year. April, help me understand why, if you hate a city so much, you would want one of their main transit hubs to be named after you.
So I have several points I want to make.
Speak the truth.
Let me
Do
tell
it.
you,
Speak it.
New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made of. A lot of New Yorkers, I know, if you get it, you get it. A lot of New Yorkers don't like Donald Trump. They tell us, we tried to warn you, you know, but at the end of they are telling us that. But at the end of the day, first of all, Penn Station is not Monahan Station right across the street. So that's one good thing. But Penn Station sits under, and it does need help, but it doesn't necessarily need a name, but it sits under Madison Square Garden, his friend Jim Dolan. I'm just wondering, Jim Dolan owns the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. But at the end of the day, Donald Trump has an ego he's feeding, okay? He wants his name everywhere. And it makes you wonder, he wants to put his legacy up now. Does he know something we don't know? And then on top of that, think about this. It's not just Penn Station. It's that arch. It's everything. Right. Everything.
It's Madison Square Garden. That's going to have to be relocated, too, if they want to do this. But that's a whole nother thing.
So, you know, it's always a lot with whatever he does. But at the end of the day, think about this, though. He's doing it now in public spaces. If he's trying to do it to federal buildings, they have the SERVE Act that's still going through Congress. They're trying to take ego out of it and make sure it's a dead president, not a living president. And we've never had a law for that. It's always been assumed that, you know, it would be a dead president, a memorial to a dead president to name something after. But this president has skirted around everything. He's going beyond boundaries. He knows what he can and cannot do.
I was actually surprised when this conversation was resurrected by Sean Duffy last week because Jim Dolan, the owner of MSG, who's good friends with Donald Trump, had several meetings with him and told him privately that he did not think this was a good idea because if they do this renovation, they're going to have to temporarily relocate MSG, which is going to be a whole logistical nightmare. And that Trump had sort of agreed to it and had quieted on it. And I'm curious what the impetus was for his change of heart, if it's just sort of the impetuousness of, you know, we got Palm Beach done. Let's get back to Penn Station, or Dulles. I don't know. Maybe that's going to come into the conversation again.
It rings to me just like the latest example of people within the Trump administration trying to pay homage to dear leader in order to curry his favor.
Maybe this is actually more about Sean Duffy.
It might be. I wouldn't be surprised. But to your point about monuments not being for the living, these are things that are paid for by taxpayers, all the things that he's putting up, trying to put his name on things like the Kennedy Center and building this arch. The reason that you have it, too, as an honor to people of the past, because that's supposed to be the people honoring the service of someone, not someone aggrandizing themselves. And when the first time I saw, for example, the big poster with Trump's mug on the Department of Justice, it reminded me of being in Tiananmen Square with the big portrait of Mao.
That's right.
That is not what we're supposed to be doing in our government. We are not supposed to be praising dear leader. We are supposed to be a government of the people. If the people choose through their representative to honor someone in the past with their name on a monument, that's one thing. For Trump to be forcing taxpayer money in order to aggrandize himself is something entirely
Republicans
different.
letting him do it.
Right.
That's the thing. Republicans letting him do it.
That's right.
That's right. So you mentioned the Justice Department. Politico did some reporting on this banner with Trump's face on the Justice Department. I mean, you know, we have all been in Washington for some time. It is so, there it is on the screen. It is so startling to see that in person, right? The Justice Department is the only department in federal government that is named for an ideal. Right? Justice as an ideal. Here he is making it about himself. So I think what Politico found is that DOJ spent nearly $1 million to spruce up the exterior of the headquarters, including these banners under Donald Trump's watchful eye. What's your reaction? I mean, you mentioned it reminds you of Tiananmen Square.
Yeah, that's exactly the energy that it's giving. And let's not forget the very, very important point that the Justice Department and the White House are supposed to operate independently. That is not supposed to be the president's law office.
On criminal matters.
On criminal matters. It's not supposed to be his law office, because what they are supposed to do is investigate everything, including the White House, if that is where the crime is criming. So just that fact that his face is on it, that's saying to every line prosecutor who walks into that building every single day that's their marching orders, not letting the law follow. And yes, on criminal matters, but even when things like, you know, the Civil Rights Division and other things, they are supposed to be pursuing justice, as you say, not doing the president.
Not advancing the interest of any one particular individual.
And the Civil Rights Division is gone because Donald Trump doesn't want it in any agency,
Their focus
particularly
is
justice.
different.
I should correct myself, by the way, because I think I missed the kicker of the story, which apparently the new plans would actually keep the famous arena in place, which I guess is something that Dolan was probably trying to negotiate.
Yes.
But I also want to just point out that the polling on the dissatisfaction with these projects that Trump has been spending so much time on is pretty remarkable. 65% being upset, 32% being enthusiastic. And I do think the reason why those numbers are getting worse and worse for the president is because of this juxtaposition that we were talking about in the last segment of consumer prices skyrocketing, affordability issues being ignored, while
I don't care. It's about me,
Marie and
Yeah.
Toinette half of the world is.
Let them eat cake.
But they can't afford flour.
Or eggs.
Right.
Kimberly,
or yeast. Or bread.
We're gonna continue this shopping list during the break. Kimberly Atkins Stohr and April Ryan, thank you both so much for joining us this morning.